Well, Clemson played tough, let it get away against Florida State. But look at the difference from the heyday when they won a couple of national championships from 15 to 20, a grand total of 7 losses. Since the start of 2021, they've lost more games than that. We're not even through the 23 season. I think the most alarming thing, that bottom line, 5 losses in the last 10 games. Now, I took more positive than negative, Kirk, from the Florida State game. They just didn't make the clutch plays they typically make. We could talk numbers all we want, but if you just watch Clemson this year, last year, versus going back to the Deshaun Watson era, and of course with Trevor Lawrence, it just feels different. And it's nothing against Cade. I think it's more really about the perimeter. They're still trying to find an identity with a new offensive coordinator. Now, let's not get this thing, carried away. This is still a team. They're a chip shot away from beating Florida State, and everybody talking about how great Clemson is on their way up to Syracuse. They fumbled twice inside the 10-yard line against Duke. They threw a pick. So they are self-destructing. But I'm just saying, Pat, this isn't like they're still not a competitive team. I want to see their psyche today with 2 losses in September going to Syracuse today.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about it is Clemson's dead. It's the dawning of a new day in the ACC. I don't think that's true at all. Just want to get the boys round up here in front of the Duke Chapel. Honestly, to your point, I think Clemson's been playing good. I mean, the Garrett Riley offense, if you want to talk about why they've lost so much over the last couple of years, it's because the offense has been basically inefficient. Now, last night, DJ Uiagalelei does his thing for Oregon State, but for whatever reason at Clemson, it just didn't work. I think what Clemson's doing is getting unlucky whenever they would normally get lucky. And today feels like one of those days where they remind a lot of people that they're Clemson, and then for the rest of the season, they just kind of lay low in the weeds because we've already kind of ruled them out, Des.
Yeah, I think it's an overreaction because we expect a standard when we watch Clemson play, and they haven't hit that standard. But like Kirk said, they don't have difference makers or the guys, they haven't stepped up on the perimeter. I mean, guys like a Justin Ross, DeAndre Hopkins, T. Higgins, guys
Williams,
like that. Yeah, Mike Williams.
Scott, Hunter Renfrow.
100%. And so when you look at the games, even the Duke game, like, they just shot themselves in the foot in the red zone. Like, they could have easily won that game. And then Florida State, that game was we talked about that one. No, they could have won the game. I mean,
still had a chip shot to win it.
Exactly. So I think it's a little bit of an overreaction, but they don't have the difference makers. They don't have, like, the Trevor Lawrence. They don't have the Deshaun Watkins. And I think that's been the difference in these close games. I tell you what, it never will end well if you take a shot at an elderly person, especially in your finest moment. You're looking at, big game, Ohio State versus Notre Dame. The last thing he should have did was come after Lou Holtz. You know what I mean? It's enjoy the moment, talk about the success of your team, but don't come after an elderly old man the way that he did, Pat. I understand trying to motivate your team.
Yeah.
Why would you come after Lee Corso?
Yeah.
Why would you say anything about Lee Corso? Lee Corso has done so much for this sport. I mean, these are 2 legends.
Yeah.
You talk about Lee Corso and Lou Holtz. Hall of Famers, legend, built this sport up, and you're going to come after them because they didn't pat your team on the back when they were doing bad. They gave their honest criticism of your team and what they saw. So I was just, turned off by it. I thought that it was thin-skinned, they were hypersensitive, and it wasn't their best moments at all.
I can respect your angle on that. And on the flip side, I love it. I absolutely love that Ryan Day got upset about a Lou Holtz quote. That was
it happened on your show.
Yeah, well, hold on,
that's even better.
That's even better. He was talking to a Lou Holtz impersonator.
Right.
So there was an interview happening between a Lou Holtz impersonator and actually Lou Holtz when Lou Holtz questioned the toughness of Ryan Day's team. And then obviously Coach Corso didn't say nobody wants to watch us bowl. He said it was a nobody wants us bowl because that's just a matter of fact to go to the Pac-2. And then Lanning talking about all the respect and the glitz and the glamour that Colorado's getting instead of his team. It all revolves around respect. I appreciate the fact that coaches will grab from anything to galvanize their group of 18 to 22-year-olds. If you can get the group to believe that they're being disrespected, normally you're going to get the best out of them. To your point, though, I don't know if that needs to be the first thing you say immediately after winning a massive game against Notre Dame, but I'm okay with coaches using anything to get their team on the same page, even if the 2 ages are 174 years, which is Lee Corso and Lou Holtz.
That video, the first few going way back, to the way it used to be. I think what you see now is more sensitivity. You have social media, Pat's world, the internet world, where it's in your face all the time, and
players easily, or they have rabbit ears. You see guys coming on the field pregame, talking to each other, challenging each other. So obviously these coaches are going to see, what happened, and look, I'm sure if they're watching right now, they're like, oh man, because they were caught up in the emotion at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think players today, 18 to 22, are so different than when we played, and even when you played.
Agreed.
So I just think they're trying to find tactics to get them inspired, to try to get them to go out and play.
Another thing that coaches always try to teach their young players: control your emotions.
And the SEC is still playing divisions right now. LSU and Alabama, Texas A&M have all gotten off to good starts. Auburn has to play Georgia today, and you see Ole Miss would be 2 games back and head-to-head tiebreaker down to LSU and Bama if they were to lose today. So LSU seems to be getting it right, and Ole Miss is kind of desperate here.
Yeah, Ole Miss obviously last week could have been an entire change to an entire season, and they have their worst day. But I think this is a good get-back game for Jackson Dart, who's the quarterback who not only leads them in passing, obviously, but also in rushing. He's an animal. Here's a little stat I found out while researching this game. LSU is 119th in the country on third down defense. 113th in the country in red zone defense. Those are the money downs there. So if Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin can get back onto what they're used to doing, good offense, we get a nice shootout in this particular game, and maybe Lane Kiffin's back in the conversation of SEC.
I'm still a little bit in my emotions because of what happened last week. Ole Miss was my super dog, and when they scored 10 points, so I'm done with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. They running the score up, scoring 40 points a game. Then they go to Tuscaloosa, and they only eke out 10 points. I love what I see from LSU, though. Daniels is playing at a high level. 4 touchdown passes, 1 interception. I love the way they just battled and fought with Arkansas. I like what I'm seeing from Brian Kelly's group right now. I think that they will beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss is going to play better than they did last week, but I still like LSU.
Yeah, that SEC West right now, it's just wide open, right? And you feel LSU from that Florida State loss getting better and better, and they got one of the best quarterbacks in the country. 20 of the last 24 possessions are touchdowns. So this offense, I think, has found their identity, got off to a little bit of a slow start. I will say this, they are vulnerable on the back end. They're dominant up front. Still trying to find Harold Perkins' home. Where is he? Is he dropping? Is he a spy? Turn him loose on third downs. I think you'll see more and more going back to where he was a year ago. I think LSU wins this too, but teams that can throw the ball against those corners, if you can get time, you can make them pay.
Steve's got the craft beer 4-pack up there. You got LSU and Ole Miss on it.
We can hear you.
Yeah, you touched on it, Kirk. The back end of LSU, a bunch of transfers back there. Yep. But that defensive line, since they got Mason Smith, they didn't have him against Florida State in that first game. I like LSU to go on the road. Malik Neighbors has been absolutely incredible catching the rock from Daniels. So I look at LSU going on the road. And then a game off the radar. Rice was a favorite last week at South Florida. JT Daniels got knocked out of that game.
Oh, no. I just saw it. I had a bad week last week, too. I picked Rutgers to beat Michigan.
Do you want to take a pick? You want to pick one?
No way. Come on. I'm looking for your help. We need to start figuring out the board here. But last week, 1-2-1, 7-10-1. Now's the day.
Okay.
Now is the time.
Now we go. Pirates getting better. Went to Michigan to start the season. Got waxed there. They're playing 2 quarterbacks. Coach Houston's got a young team. I like ECU to go on the road. Cover that 3.
There you go.
All right.
Carolina pop here.
The old purple Pirates, they're not real popular here.
Who's the jacket?
Huh? Dartmouth.
Oh, of course, I knew that.
Big win last week at the path after Buddy Tebens.
Right. It was
big win.
Great honor for Buddy up there, too.
Absolutely.
Give me something.